Okay, we are live. Hey, Christy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
I got my green on.
I see that. I see that. I don't have a green shirt, so I just put like a green plant behind me so I don't get
You have a
virtually.
green office. That's okay.
Yeah, so we have green walls here. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad that you are joining us for our LinkedIn Live today. Let's just get started. So, welcome to our latest LinkedIn Live, hosted by Stories Incorporated, talking about employer branding and recruitment marketing, content strategies that can help you. And today I'm joined by, I'm Jessica McFadden, our head of marketing. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Christy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christy Coluccio, and I'm a project manager and content strategist for Stories Incorporated.
So, Christy is one of our lead story gatherers and employer branding content experts. And Christy has been at Stories for a year. You've been a year now?
Close to it.
Oh, that's so great. And she's a veteran of talent brand, recruitment marketing, and TA. So, can you tell us about your work before coming over to Stories?
Sure. Well, I spent the last 15 years of my career mostly working in the recruiting space, working in both RPO and in house recruitment environments. And while I was at my last in house role, where I was recruiting for recruiting for a global software company in the engineering space, I took on employer branding and recruitment marketing responsibilities. And it was then that I developed an interest in telling employee stories. So now I'm here and I get to do that for many companies every day. And I couldn't be happier about it.
Well, we're so happy that you're here with us because, like yourself, Stories Inc. has worked with some of the most progressive companies to create content that supports goals for hiring more women and female identifying persons. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Today is all about what is the content that will help you recruit more women, will engage more women candidates because it's such a high priority and we're honoring Women's History Month. I'd like to note before we get started in today's discussion about recruitment marketing for women, we're going to use the terms women and female, and we're referring to all the people who are either born female and also individuals who are female identifying. So we're going all in and all inclusive for Women's History Month. But back to the topic at hand. The key to effectively recruiting women in 2022 is to give female candidates compelling proof that your company is a place where women are supported and are thriving. So that's where we're going to go deep today. So today, myself and Christy, who is doing this work every day with companies and employees to communicate culture that's attractive to women, we're going to show you our tips, what we do at Stories Inc., and how you can do that in your own companies too. So, Christy, why are the stories of women team members such an important part of recruitment marketing right now?
Sure. Well, women candidates are in high demand, for especially for companies who have formal women's hiring initiatives, and in industries where women are underrepresented, like technology. So right now, it's easier than ever for a qualified woman candidate to find a job. But, and there's always a but, it's also extremely easy for them to find a culture where they're not happy, especially in the post COVID-19 climate. There was a recent study by the Society of Women Engineers that found that 31% of female engineers said that they experienced more bias during the pandemic. They also reported getting more talked over, interrupted, and ignored by male colleagues.
Ugh, that's the worst. Oh my goodness. And didn't the study show that work life family balance also went down for these women in the pandemic too?
Right. The study showed that women surveyed experienced less flexibility and parenting support at work. Not a good situation.
No, no. So Christy and I are both mothers as well as women. So, that's the types of things that are really important to us and, why we are so passionate about what we do. And in our work with leading companies, we see that places succeeding in attracting qualified, great fit female candidates are developing specialized culture messaging that allows the women candidates to really picture themselves working and thriving at your company. And the companies that are recruiting and retaining the women, the employees you already have, are doing this with stories from their female team members.
Right, and just like other facets of diversity and inclusion content, candidates want to hear about progress directly from the employees that are experiencing that. So they are the people who experience and form the culture that results from those organizational actions, attitudes, and values. So by encouraging your employees to tell their stories, you're providing a meaningful opportunity to discuss the gender inclusion that's happening in your organization, further demonstrating that you value and respect their experiences and their identities.
So, we're going to show you rather than just like talking, we could talk about this all day, but we're going to show you some effective and excellent recruitment marketing videos that feature those stories from female team members talking about why they're supported and why they like working there.
Yeah, and then in this first video, which we developed for Dell Technologies, which will proudly say in 2021 won the Rally Award for Best Use of Video in Recruitment Marketing, female employees around the globe shared their stories of exactly how they're experiencing growth, inclusion, flexibility, and more.
One of the times that really stood out for me as far as being encouraged as a female within the company is when I was in the heat of my pursuit for leadership and I became pregnant, and I told my superior of the news, and I was met with such love and encouragement, and I was also encouraged to go out there for those interviews when those opportunities came. And shortly after coming back from maternity leave, I began my leadership journey. To be able to have that, it was a blessing.
Dell Technologies really walk the talk when it comes to empowering women.
We set a commitment that by the year 2030, 50% of our workforce will be women and 40% of our leadership will be women.
I'm a very passionate engineer who loves to identify and solve customer issues or deliver something which is cutting edge and industry leading. I have 13 patents now.
You have so much room to grow, so much room to develop. Dell Technologies, it's never still, it's always changing.
I was nominated for a job rotate program. So this is a big change for me. I'm very happy my contributions are recognized and valued and let me feel very engaged and inspired to do my best.
I'm co-lead for Women in Action here in Montpellier. We have to keep the focus on working towards professional equity between women and men within Dell Technologies.
We help women to climb their career ladder, maintain a healthy work-life balance. I can support my son, I'm successful at work.
I cycle long distances. I also took up running and adventure sports and trekking, and that's because of the culture and the work-life balance.
There are a lot of women-focused trainings, whether it is presentation skills, confidence building, financial acumen, business acumen, which actually help you think beyond what you are doing today.
One of the things we have is Hour of Code. We have a group of ladies. They would learn to code in 1 hour.
I've been able to do STEM, engineering, arts, and math with young girls. We put on an event called STEAMapalooza. They had robots, online gaming, and fun ways to code. They got a stamp at each station. It was really cool to showcase all the possibilities there are for girls and keep their interest in that.
I have a lot of autonomy, a lot of flexibility, and I feel that my leaders and my team members believe in me. Dell Technologies really values its people. Like, I feel so valued as a human being.
And the stories that they shared really provide a continuous cycle of culture and content. And these stories are helping Dell meet their gender parity goals, which is a great, a great thing to do. And Dell does it so well, but they're not the only ones that are using female team member stories. So myself and the other content strategists that I work with on the Stories Project team, we capture powerful stories from women employees from all industries. who are, just really kind and generous in sharing their stories. And they're sharing stories specifically about how they're supported, celebrated, how they're experiencing great career growth and being shown empathy and flexibility for their lives outside of work, which really is something that I would want to hear.
Of course, the companies that we're helping capture and communicate stories to female talent are not the only organizations out there with great cultures. But these companies know, the ones that are working with us, know that in order for candidates to really believe that your culture is supportive to women, they need proof. They need stories. You need to see the stories. And that proof comes from the employee stories. And the tech industry, especially for those STEM and technologist roles, the tech industry is working really hard to recruit women. And an awesome communication strategy, if your company is seeking to even out a gender imbalance, is to capture stories from the women engineers of how they're thriving at work because of the culture and not just in spite of it.
So in this video that we're hoping to feature, it features women engineers at Expedia Group, and the stories here center on how their gender is celebrated as an advantage.
When you look at a group of technologists at majority events or forums or meetings, you'll see that female technologists are not the majority.
Women do most of the travel planning whenever they're booking for like leisure vacations or whatever. So it really helps to have a female perspective.
Once there was a problem that we had to solve for, and we had a meeting. I was very shy in not sharing my idea. When I shared that idea with my manager on a one-on-one conversation, he was very happy and he was like, "That's a really great idea. Why didn't you bring it up in the meeting?" And I said, "I don't know. What if it's not a great idea?" So he advised saying that do not hesitate about whether it's a great idea or not. Just bring it up. The whole experience had taught me that I was probably way too hard on myself. It's okay to fail, it's okay to not be the right solution, but you're getting to learn at that moment once you share it with everyone.
There's a lot of support that goes in from all your teammates and all people that you work with.
I feel like all managers here really do a good job just trying to make sure that they're aware of your career path, what you're trying to do. I think we do a lot of initiatives supporting women in technology. As a woman who works in technology, I feel like this is one of the really, really good companies to work for.
And those are such powerful stories, especially if you hear them from the women themselves. So we'll share that link with you so that you can show how you don't have to talk around, gender, that you can actually incorporate that in your messaging.
Yeah, and they really are inspiring stories. And another type of story that's close to my heart, and I know it's close to Jessica's and maybe some of you on this LinkedIn Live, are stories from working mothers and caregivers and how they're experiencing flexibility and a family-friendly culture. As a working mother, when I was looking for a new opportunity last year, I definitely wanted to know how supportive and flexible the environment would be for parents like me. And that was a big part of making my decision. And I'm sure it's a big part of others making their decisions as well to join your companies.
Absolutely. As a working mom, that is one of my top priorities, is finding a culture, that is great for women. And I found it, which is wonderful. And that was one of my top priorities when I was seeking my new position at Stories Inc. a few years ago. And it's especially critical for the women who are looking for jobs right now. So you talked about, how culture shifted in a lot of places during the pandemic. Some cultures really deteriorated for working moms. There was a study from McKinsey, and over half of the moms surveyed also reported that in their homes, they were handling most or all of the educational and childcare support and household duties on top of still working full-time. And the same study found that parents were more likely to have left their jobs during the pandemic than their non-parent coworkers. So in short, many women candidates right now experience cultures that nosedived. And now they're looking for places that have that great pro-family, pro-flexibility, pro-empathy culture that they didn't have. They're looking for something better. And so we're going to have another video that we're going to link to you below, is a video from 11 Peppers Studios. And this was a Stories Inc. Story of the Year. And we'll give you the link to all of those. They're all great examples of, the types of stories that are really resonating with candidates right now. And the stories from the working parents at 11 Pepper Studios, they really bring to life how that company is supporting parents specifically and exactly what balance really looks like. So it's not just a lot of catchphrases like work-life family balance. They're actually giving examples of it and showing how that happens in practice.
11 Peppers has been instrumental in me having that work-life balance between being a creative director and leading a team and being a mom and a wife and just a good family member.
11 Peppers has been really great in supporting me as a new mom. They were really awesome in giving me the time off that I needed to be with her when I first had her back in 2019. They sent a great basket over for my first Mother's Day. That was really sweet. You could tell they thought about it. It's always personalized, so it had like my name on some things, and there's a handwritten card.
We had like a 5K that we ran, and they talked about bringing a family, and my daughter came, and it makes me feel like an awesome dad because she gets to come and see some of my coworkers and see the event that we're involved in.
But we know that employees are real people and they have lives and kids and families, things going on. I think as a mother myself and wanting those things, I think that helps with the people that are also looking for that.
There's lots of times that I have to juggle picking up my daughter or dropping her off at school. Our hours are pretty flexible as long as you're going to meetings that you need to go to and putting in those core hours with your team.
The benefits that the company offers is awesome, and it allows me to have the best for my child.
People bring their lives with them to work every day, and they recognize that. And so they want to make sure that we have a great work-life balance and that they can do as much as they can to make that great for us.
Really liked how the video speaks directly to those exhausted and talented working parent candidates that are searching for the proof of compassion and flexibility that they would hope to experience in their new workplace. And personally, I also appreciated that in the video, the employees are sharing the pride of where they work with their families, because I think that's important to me, and that's something that I like to do myself.
Oh, absolutely. My kids love talking about how their mom works at Stories. It's such a cool name. And just like, being able to, it's fun to hear how the kids tell the stories about where you work, and kids pick up on it. So if you work in a great culture, you can tell that through the stories that you hear around the dinner table, for sure. The stories that we've shared today, they really serve as important content for retaining women in your organization, as well as recruiting new ones, right? They reinforce, educate, and engage your existing employees. And they give your company compelling content to join the important conversations happening around gender equity.
Right. And they allow you to celebrate women at key times in your recruitment marketing content calendar, like Women's History Month, that's happening now, Gender Equality Day, that's in August, International Day of the Girl in October, and many more.
So we have a roundup of all of those celebrations and observances that are in our 2022 DEI content calendar download. And we're going to link that for you here. So that way you can, have that when you are developing your editorial calendars and your content calendars. If you're seeking a way to really connect with different underrepresented groups, you can use the calendar to help you join those conversations authentically. And it's important to women candidates, but of course, you're not limited to dates. And actually, I guess it's kind of telling. We talked about this in our last Black History Month LinkedIn Live, that it actually is very telling if the only time you talk about culture supporting your African-American and Black employees is during February. That's kind of telling too. So you should, honor those great celebrations, but also talk about important DEI things all year round throughout all your content.
Right. And I think we covered a lot. We packed a lot in, but if you remember one thing, it's that employee stories are the best way to communicate a culture that's inclusive and supportive of women.
Christy, thank you so much for joining in a busy, busy day, because I know you have lots going on in your schedule, capturing stories from these great companies. So where can people find you and connect with you?
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn as Christy Coluccio, and I'd be happy to connect with as many people as want to connect with me.